Meanwhile, over 200 participants drawn from various spheres in the private sector are convening in Kisumu today. They're going to spearhead a conversation around social housing and public transport in Kisumu. And to give us more details, let's now bring in our Laura Otieno, who's live for us. Now get this, the discussion comes on the backdrop of a move by the county government to set up about 200,000 units within town, with a section of residents decrying a lack of public participation in the urban planning project. Laura, can you tell us more about this?
Well, indeed, Wahiga, there have been sections of residents who have been lamenting that the county government has been taking up most of the roles in terms of urban planning, insisting that they've not been involved. And remember, this is a project that is largely expected to benefit residents, and therefore most of them had been raising concerns that they should at least be involved in the decision-making process. And now what has informed today's conversation, Wahiga, is that kind of engagement that perhaps the county government needs to sit down with not only the private sector but also residents at large. And so, just to get it directly from the horse's mouth, I'm joined by George Collins. Welcome to Citizen TV. How exactly do you plan to perhaps engage the county government in ensuring that today's forum is a success and starting that conversation?
Basically, George Collins is my name. I work for Transform Empowerment Faction Initiative, and the umbrella that is bringing us up here today is a just city. And we are saying that for us to have a just city, then we have about 4 principles that we need to look in terms of ensuring that the citizenry engage meaningfully in decision making. Yeah. And number 1 is dignity. We are not satisfied the way people have been removed from even their businesses where they used to work. And we are saying that you cannot just remove people without really engaging them fruitfully, because again, human rights are very key and fundamental. The other thing is about inclusion. When we talk about inclusion, the Constitution has already given us a provision, and we are saying that anything that is affecting the citizens must be looked in terms of how to include persons with disability, the women, the children, etc., etc. Then there is the democratic aspect. Citizens have a right to be engaged. They need to liaise with their citizens, and they need to liaise with their leadership, and they also need to liaise with other stakeholders to ensure that when we talk about social housing and public transport, then all of us are having this conversation. Then finally, there is the aspect of social responsibility, where the citizens themselves have not refused to pay taxes. But you cannot spend our taxes without engaging us sufficiently. That's why we are saying we have brought a multi-sectoral approach to kind of this discussion. And we're not opposed to any development. What we need is how well do we work together through a multi-sectoral approach where the governor, the MP, the senator, the MCAs, and anyone, including the women reps, are able to understand the plight of the citizens where they're coming from. Because there is a big assumption that leaders tend to assume that they know so much about us. They only know about us when they're looking for votes. But immediately they get to Nairobi, kidogo, it's like they've forgotten what is happening in the society. So we've brought different stakeholders here today, and we are saying that we want to have a very fruitful conversation. We want to look at the policy guiding. For instance, Kisumu County does not have a policy in housing, yet already they're doing demolition. Fine, they have a draft bill on transport, but how are citizens part and parcel of this conversation? Because if you look at Article 10 of the Constitution, we are talking about participation, we are talking about inclusion, we are talking about democratization, and to us, these are very key. Then the aspect of pedestrian. How will citizens be able to walk even if these things are done? And that's all we are asking, to be engaged meaningfully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Of course, we will be expanding on that conversation later on, and of course, be bringing you updates on our subsequent bulletins. And what we will be looking into is how exactly the county government will be engaging such kind of stakeholders, considering that AfriCities 2021 is coming in Kisumu, and we're seeing the county government rushing to put in place infrastructure, but then now concerns are being raised that they are not meaningfully engaging the residents. So, of course, we'll also have a sit down with the county government to exactly see how they plan to engage all concerned stakeholders to ensure that the process of urban planning and public transport is a success here in Kisumu County, Wahiga.
Thank you so much, Laura Otieno, there talking to us a little bit about a forum where over 200 participants will discuss social housing and public transport in Kisumu County. That happening today.